Krista, great to see you. Welcome to Popternative.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm really excited to chat with you about season 2 of Ghosting and be able to see that on CBC Gem. So it's interesting because I know you know Luke and I know you know Matthew, and I know that you were also at the premiere for season 1, and it's one of those things too, right? Where I kind of want to know, like, I'm sure after seeing everything, you're like, oh, this would be something I'd love to be part of. What was that conversation like? Was it like just kind of like meeting up with them for coffee and being like, hey, do you want to be on this? Would you want to be on it? How did you get on the show?
It's so funny because I was a fan of ghosting before it even came out. When I heard the idea, I was like, guys, this is untapped territory. You got to do this. If anyone's going to do it, it's got to be you guys. So I watched season 1 and I was like, this is absolutely amazing. And I was like, guys, this would be so cool if I could, But no, randomly one day I got a text and Matthew was like, so would you be interested by any chance to do ghosting? And I was like, I've been waiting for this day. But I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So yeah.
It's exciting too, right? Because, you have worked in a lot of these, scripted worlds of like thrillers and horrors with like the Hardy Boys and like, Hell of a Summer. But like, this is like probably something you've never experienced before, right? Like this type of show, like this is a first, right?
Absolutely. I never thought I would do non-scripted anything, much less something where they're putting you in a situation where it's your fight or flight instincts right there at the test every single moment. And so it's a different beast. There's nothing you could do to prepare for non-scripted, and there's nothing you could do to prepare for that type of non-scripted.
Yeah. Take me through the preparation in regards to like the waves of information coming towards you for your episode of Ghosting, because I feel like at some point, right, you're going to find out which location it's going to be. You're going to find out like what's going to happen, right? There's always different kind of stories and little kind of tidbits in each episode of Ghosting.
I'm laughing. Yeah. I'm laughing because you're like, at some point you're going to find out, which is what I thought. That would have been a luxury. But I'm asking, the date's approaching, I'm asking questions, and they were like, oh, just be prepared. You ready? They're like, you're going to hate us after this. And I'm like, what is going on? And so I kind of got clued into the fact that I'm not going to have any information until I'm literally standing on the grounds of this paranormal haunted space. And that's exactly what it was. I was being like shipped off to this place I've never been to before in Ontario. And like the sun's coming down and I still don't know where I'm going until I'm literally on the grounds. And then they were kind of that's when I got clued in.
It's interesting too. And I'm really excited to ask you this because I think about, I'm a filmmaker too. So I think about a lot of these, and it's like, you're on the show with Luke and Matthew, right? Like you're on the show, you're going visiting all these, haunted areas in Canada, but they're also the creators of the show. So I'm wondering, are the conversations with them as creators and as hosts different, or are they the same specifically in terms of like making the show? Because I do find that interesting, right?
Yeah, it's interesting when you're making something with your friends. Because it feels like obviously the level of professionalism is still there, but you're clued in a little bit more. Sometimes in the film industry, you don't really get access to the information that you would want. And similarly on Ghosting and the past film that I did, Hell of a Summer, I felt like I got the chance to be clued in as much as possible. As I said, they didn't tell me all the information, but creatively, I knew where they were going with season 2. I knew the stakes would be higher. I knew they were doing cross country. They let me into everything that I knew everything that was possible to tell me without kind of ruining the surprise, they clued me into. So I really appreciated that. But even as we were filming, it was interesting to see them, be in front of the camera and be present as hosts, but also behind the scenes still, playing both roles and wearing multiple hats on set.
Absolutely. We'll get back to Ghosting. You brought it up. I mean, did a really cool festival run, and via Neon, people are going to be able to see Hell of a Summer really soon. The poster just came out and everything. I'm so excited about that. I mean, take me through being able to work on a movie that blends like the slasher or horror movie elements with the comedy, because I feel like this movie just has that 50-50 down the middle, and some comedies have a lot of horror movie elements and horror movie elements have some comedy. This is 50-50. Like, how excited are you for people to see that blend in theaters?
I am so excited. I am a horror fanatic, so I'm really excited for people to see this kind of like a throwback. We don't get to see horror comedies as often as each individual genre. So it was so interesting as a performer to play both of those at the same time because they're kind of opposing genres, but they also complement each other so well because you can find the comedy in horrific situations because it's a once in a lifetime situation. We don't know how to deal with this. And especially when it's young, young camp counselors who aren't here for this type of situation. They just came to have fun. That's all they expected. And also, it's almost like every man for himself. So it's interesting to see the blend of those genres come together and how well they can complement each other on screen.
Absolutely. I can't wait for people to see it. I mean, the trailer dropped too, and it's like just the trailer is the funniest thing.
Terrible.
Did it feel like summer camp at times making that film?
It felt exactly like summer camp. Sometimes it felt more like summer camp than work because we were all living under the same roof. We were seeing each other every single day, on set, off set. It just felt like such a familiar experience since day one. And I've never been to summer camp. So now I got my fill. This filled the void for me.
100%. I feel like I don't know. You're drawn to these like spooky worlds.
Yeah.
Do you bring things and mindsets and preparation? Like you worked on the Hardy Boys, and I'm just curious. Like, do you bring mindsets? Like, how separate are past projects compared to something like Hell of a Summer or like Ghosting? Ghosting's a bit different because it's like not scripted, right? But like, do you bring mindsets preparations to like past projects to new projects, or are they all separate once you wrap them specifically?
Yeah, always. I think I learned something from every single set that I go on. I think specifically when talking about Hardy Boys and Hell of a Summer, it's it was such a great experience to work on Hardy Boys because it taught me what it'd be like to work in a huge ensemble.
Mhm.
And also when the pacing is so fast, you have to lend to the scene with your other scene partners and make sure that you guys are hitting those beats together. And so
Mhm.
with Hell of a Summer, it's a comedy. We just keep going, keep going. It's a horror. You keep going, the stakes are getting higher. There's so many people in almost all of the scenes. And so I was able to pull from that experience on Hardy Boys to teach me how to work with an ensemble
Mhm.
fast
Yeah.
for Hell of a Summer.
Absolutely. Getting back to Ghosting, which is going to be, season 2 is going to be premiering on CBC Gem March 21st, so they can check it out.
Woo!
Um, it's interesting, right? Because what I got from season 1 of Ghosting and the episodes I've seen for season the trailers I've seen for season 2 so far is like it is kind of like this immersive kind of journey for the audience member. Like it feels sometimes like you're with like you with you're we're with you basically right
Yeah.
there, right? Were there any conversations about that with Luke and Matthew about the immersive kind of aspect of it and really like hooking the audience in? I'm just curious about that.
I think it's interesting. We didn't really talk about the audience aspect of the show, which is, I think, what immersed me more into it because it felt like a personal experience. A lot of times I actually forgot that there were cameras. With non-scripted, that could be scary too, you know? But I think because it feels so personal and so intimate, it really draws the audience in because you're right there with us and we're not faking anything. Everything's very genuine. So I think just naturally the audience feels pulled in because we're being so genuine.
Absolutely. What would you say was a really funny moment shooting your episode and a very scary moment without kind of big spoilers? You know what I mean? You can go
Yeah.
there if you want. I'll just kind of make sure that this is out closer to your episode so no one
Yeah.
gets in trouble. Take
Okay,
it
let's
wherever
see.
you want, and I'll do my due diligence, and
Um,
we'll be okay.
hey, I'm trusting you.
Yeah.
It's so hard to pick. Funny is so hard to pick because it's Matthew and Luke. Like, there's
Yeah.
gonna be funny moments throughout. I think what was so funny was near the beginning of the episode, you'll see it. Throughout my episode, I start off very confident because I'm like, what could go wrong? But you can see me progressively getting less and less confident as it goes on because it genuinely is getting more and more scarier as we immerse ourselves in the experience. So funny, at the beginning, we're goofing off. We have like a little, I don't know if they're going to show this, but we have a little moment where my whole thing is like rapping, freestyling, just as a joke. I just like making people uncomfortable. Be like, just drop a freestyle real quick. You may or may not see that. It was just a riot because freestyling and ghost hunting doesn't really go together. But the scariest moment, I will say, I was not expecting this. Neither was Matthew, which is what made it more scary because I'm like, you're the second host. How did you not know about this? But Luke decided to surprise us with this little
This
sick
definitely is a
thing.
post like release interview. Like, so thank you. We got to figure out when you're.
Definitely need that.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my
This
gosh.
is definitely like going to be out a day or two after your episode releases. So thank
Oh,
you for that.
okay.
No, okay.
Great. So then I can
No,
say
it's
whatever
great.
and everything.
Now people can look out for the surprise and it'll be great.
Yeah, look out for this surprise. You will see me scream bloody murder, and that is so genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Post-mortem interview, let me tell you. No, it's just great. I kind of want to also know, when you work on something like this with Luke and Matthew, because it's so kind of like, does it get the creative juices flowing? Like, obviously you're an actor focusing on that, but it's like, you know, a lot of people now, they go behind the camera, they produce, they write it, direct. Like, I'm a filmmaker as well. Like, do you work on something like this? And is it kind of like do you get interested in going behind the camera, or like making a series at all? Like, what do you think about that specifically?
I would love to. I would love to work behind the camera. It's kind of daunting, especially when you start off in front of the camera. You kind of think, you kind of see it firsthand, and you're like, can I wear so many hats? Am I able to pull off running a set? But seeing people like Matthew and Luke do it, and they make it look so effortless, it's so inspiring. It's something that I would really, really love to do. I have a lot of interest in going behind the cameras.
Absolutely. It is a strange feeling, right? And I'm sure it was like that with the Hardy Boys, like when episode, like when it would like you would wrap it, and then you'd be like, oh, like they're coming out on Hulu, people are gonna be able to see it, and then like it was out of your hands. Are you starting to get used to this kind of storytelling kind of avenue or vehicle of things getting out there, like Ghosting, Hell of Summer? Like you work on it, it's like in the can, you wait, and then there's release dates, and then it's out of your hands, and then people can see it. Like, it's a crazy, surreal feeling, right?
It definitely is, but that's the beauty in it. You learn really quickly that this whole thing is a collaboration.
Yeah.
Nothing can be done without the next person.
Mhm.
And so you do your part, you do your best, you work together, and I understand that the people that I work with, I trust every single one of them. So once it's out of my hand, they're going to make it even more beautiful. And then it's no longer mine. It's no longer just mine. It's ours. It's something that we can share with the rest of the world. It's such a beautiful process. It's scary because, yeah, it's out of your hands. You don't really have control over what happens once it's sent off into the void until you see it when everyone else is seeing it. But that's what makes it such a stunning process.
Last kind of question, and it's in general because, you know, we established Ghosting, you know, Hell of a Summer in that kind of like, you know, spooky kind of worlds and everything. I'm wondering what it's like for you, because we talked about kind of the horror comedy component of Hell of a Summer. I'm wondering what it's like for you to be able to kind of work in those genres of like horror movies and like thrillers and supernatural at a time where there's such a big appetite for that content because it's so innovative. Like, can you talk about that a little bit specifically?
Yeah, one of my biggest goals as a performer, and hopefully if I get to work behind the cameras one day, I really want to see more people of color in these genres, not just horror, but like even sci-fi. I would love to see more vampire flicks or fairy flicks or things along the lines of Harry Potter, where you can just see a wide array of people from different walks of life be a part of this stuff. And I'm so happy to see that. This feels like the year of horror. Even 2024 had a lot of great releases. So I'm so happy to
Absolutely.
see that. Yeah, I'm happy to see that there's still a quench for that type of genre. But I think that there's a lot of untapped territory when talking about those genres.
100%. That's so well said. Krista, so great chatting with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
Okay, so some plugs. Season 2 of Ghosting on CBC Gem, March 21st.
March 21st.
And Hell of a Summer is going to be coming out at some point as well via Neon.
April 4th. Yes.
Oh my God, it's like the 2 weeks of Krista.
Oh, it's gonna be. You guys are gonna be sick of me.
Do you have an Instagram account where people can keep up to date with everything specifically?
Yeah, Krista Nazaire on Instagram. Shoot me a message. Say hi.
Awesome. Well, it's been Popturnative, youtube.com/Popturnative for previous episodes. Till next time, it's Krista and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popturnative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popturnative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.